So we've seen how save works as well. And you can see that these variables are very important, as in the structure of the file. And it stores those in there. Now, you may be given a file that's already populated or not. If you are given a file that's already populated, make a copy of it first of all, okay? So it's in the bin debug folder. If I delete and run again, first thing that it'll does is create a new database. Of course, at that point, that is now blank, so it doesn't now have my swimming and so on in, right? So make a copy of things beforehand, before you do so. So I'm going to save some files, and then we're going to work on that and just have a look at search. But in essence, I've done part one of the question. I've solved all the issues, and now we'll just test the validation rules that we've got there, okay? Now you'll remember that the exam paper gave us some activities such as swimming, gym, aerobics, badminton, squash. So you'll be well advised to, in your text file, put a few of those in. Right? So put some of those into the text file. I can't see that there's marks in the past paper given for the text file having many records, but it may be in this one. You may require testing of the system. So test it with some realistic data. So what I've done at the moment, I've put into my leisure text file. So I've got a few different things. So Aqua, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So I might keep hold of that so that I can see what I need to be searching for in a moment. So I'm going to keep that to hand. And then we'll close the paper. We'll minimize the paper. And let's go and run the program again, and let's see what the count does, the bit that we did before. So if I choose swimming and count, no sessions have been found. Let's go and find out why that is. Count, no sessions have been found. Oh, we'll have to have a look, see why that is. And I'm looking at my data, and I see swimming. Well, there are swimming and there are aqua, so it should be giving me 3 sessions here. So let's go and see what I've done wrong with my coding. So if it's searching through for, do any match the criteria aqua? Well, via this line, then it will do. So from position 31, there's position 31, because there's 30. So this is 31, and will it equal 5? Because it trims from the right-hand side, so it'll trim off that space, so it'll just have aqua. Does it equal what the text I've typed in? Yes, it will do. And then count got is equal count got plus 1. Then I look at this line down here, which I put in. If count got equals count needed, then session count equals session count plus 1. Oh, right. So I've now got count got. Do any of these fields match the ones that aren't empty, where count needed was? Count needed was set as whatever value it is. So if count got equals count needed, then session count equals session count plus 1. Therefore, I've found a matching session. So I put the wrong variable in here. It should be session count into that position there. So meaning you've found a session in the week that matches. Or I might have found 4 sessions that match. So let's now go and run it again. And this time, when I run it and I look for aqua, it should now tell me 3 sessions have been found. Now if I put in swimming also, then 3 sessions match. But let's say I can only go on a Monday. Oh, no sessions. Let's go and have a look. I made them Wednesday, Thursday and Saturday. So let's change it to, I can only do Saturday. Count, 1 session has been found. So that matches all the criteria, all right? So the examiner likes this sort of format. Or we may be going for, well, I only want easy. So we got swimming, aqua, easy, swimming, aqua. That's the intermediate, but the third one is easy. So it should now only give me 2. 2 sessions have been found. Contact the centre for more information. So it's finding that information. Let's try again. Running. And I want running on a Thursday night. And we won't worry about the level for now. But let's go and count. It's found none. What about running? None. Now this can cause an issue in an exam because you'll wonder why on earth is it not working? Well, all it is a capital letter. All right, running. So don't get stuck in that roundabout of, oh my word, it's not working. 3 sessions have been found. What day? Thursday. 1 session has been found. And let's say I wanted an easy level. Well, sorry, there is a session, but it's not easy. It's actually expert level. So let's say expert level, running. Let's go and find out. There are 2 sessions available. Yes, one is on a Monday, one is on a Thursday. So it's using that file to find that information. Okay? Now, with that, that's in essence the structure of the code that you're going to have to look at. All right? And that's what it says to do in this question here. Read through the code, familiarise yourself with its content. It's going to be similar to that. There's going to be no difference. That's what's come through in the 2 sample pieces of paper, sample exam papers. Now the file contains incomplete code. Solve it, right? Sort it out. Then you're going to create a new form that will allow them to input customer details, validate, store customer details, and retrieve. Now this is going to be worth 8 marks. For the 4 marks that you've already got, you've familiarised yourself with the code. Now, you can use the same code, but obviously different variables again, if you want, or you can go the database route, right? So I'm going to do both of those, and I'll start with the code that they've given us, because it's a fairly simple copy and paste exercise. But look, we're going to input customer details. It doesn't say what fields, right? It doesn't say how many fields are going to be required, but let's go and have a look at the mark scheme. The mark scheme, don't forget you're going to put your client's text file in here, and if we go to the mark scheme, we go 1 level up, let's go to answers, and let's go all the way down. Not so easy to follow through these, but section B, you get a mark for opening the file, reading the contents, comparing activities to the list, incrementing the contents of the activities, and so on. So you've got those marks, the 4 marks there. You get a mark for input, validation range, after these sort of things, a range check, format check, length and presence check, store the records into a customer details or text file or an ACCDB database, retrieve the customer from the disk to be able to search again, just like we've done, and a nice user interface. Okay, so that would be, oh, I should have said also the 3rd part. If you look at the mark for it, clear annotation and use of self-documented code for 4 marks. Bear in mind the amount of work you've got for 4 marks for that first part. You just need to do self-documenting code, annotation, and the identifier should be meaningful names. So if it's going to be for a client, call it a client data. If it's going to be, and what they're stopping you doing there is just copying and pasting the same ones, because the same text. Because if you copy and paste all this text, txt day, txt location, it's got nothing to do with clients and you won't get the marks for that. So I'm going to project, add a new form. It's a new Windows form. I'm going to call this clients. Click add, and there's my client's form. I'm going to bring the toolbox out now. I said at the very start I don't need it for now, but I'm going to get my common controls. So I know I'm going to have a button there to save, and I'm also going to have a button here to search. All right, now what we'll also do, make sure you name these correctly, so CMD or BTN, okay, so make sure you use the correct conventions, BTN save and BTN search. I'm then going to use some labels, so labels up here, so this is going to have the text in there, so put a title in, so I'll make the form now and you'll see just where the form goes. I'm going to use a tool here just to, if we go to align them to left, just keep things tidy. Also, we'll distribute them evenly vertically. Let's see if it'll actually do that. Make the same height, make the same size, make vertical space equal, and make vertical space equal for those as well. We could even align those to the left or the right or whatever else you want to, all right? I decide on name, weight, contact number and membership type, looking at the different validation rules. So I can have a presence check, I can have a length check, I can have a range check for weight, and a membership type I'm going to have a list check. So what I'm going to do, they can have a text box there if you want to, but I'm also going to choose, I'm going to decide for this one, I'm going to use a combo box. And let's put some, give some real, some useful identifier names for the objects. So that's going to be called CMB type. Obviously that's going to be TXT contact number, TXT weight. Don't don't just put TXT NM or anything like that. Make sure it can be clearly read by the examiner that that is a useful and meaningful variable name. Okay, so name, weight, contact number, do colours if you need to and so on. Bear in mind you've got 60 minutes for this part. It's only worth 16 marks, right? 4 marks for the first part, which was the code, 8 marks for creating your own form, and then 4 marks to make sure you've done self-documenting code. So really you're picking up 12 marks here with this to make sure all the objects are self-documented, and also then you're going to do the code and so on for this. Now what I'll go and have a look at now is the code that's in activities, and we'll have a look at utilising some of this code and just making a solution that will save data to a text file and read from a text file. It's not the way we did it in class, because I'm then going to do it using a database as well. But just while we're here, I'll start with, oh, there's a structure there of, so that's going to be a client data, so we can have something like that. Then we're going to have some validation rules, maybe some presence checks and so on. So we'll include that. And then we're going to do, that's the search routine. So we'll do that in a little bit. And there's the save routine. That's fairly important. So what we'll do, we'll start with this bit here, leisure sessions complete. I'm just going to look at that bit of code there. Go across to my clients. And with the clients load, I'm going to put in there directly leisure.text equals. If it equals, well, it's not going to be called leisure, it's going to be called clients dot text. If it equals blank, then Vanessa has new stream writer, and we're going to put it into clients.text. Now StreamWriter has given us an error because it needs this import system IO right at the very top, which are the input-output code constructs of the system itself, of Visual Basic. So we need to import those first of all. If you have a look at the activities, you have to do that above the class, the actual form itself. So import, system, import, output features. So I will do that just above here. You can either apply the correction and it'll do it for you, or imports system.io. So it'll have the IO input output commands for that. So the system writer and the system stream writer and stream reader will work now. A new client database has been created, and it'll create a blank line if need be. So we've got that client. So if we run that form, so if I save that form, if we run that form now, and in fact it hasn't run that form as yet because we're going to go to properties. Startup form is now going to be clients. So I'll have the clients to start. So let's now run it. A new client database has been created. Oh, that's good. The form loads. Let's stop it running. Let's just go and have a look at the folder. And in activities, I've now got a clients. Let's go into the debug, and I've now got a client's text file which has nothing in it other than that line of empty code. Note that if you run it, and in this right line here that the examiner had put in previously in this, we could put in start of database and database header details. We could put those in, but the problem is that's going to get read when it So it's now created it. When the program runs, that's going to get read and maybe read as a record. So we try very often, that's limited to 30 characters or whatever the structure of the data happens to be, all right, which is what we're going to set now in just a second. But if we go to, let's go to clients, and there we are. So that database is in there. But to avoid issues for the exam, we'll just put a line of data. All right, and it will create. Oh, I didn't delete the file. So, delete the file. Good. Right. Now if I run it, again, new has been created, and we've got a blank data file. So now I've got to get to save that data. And for saving, what we need a structure, first of all, to save the data. So if I create that, I'm just going to copy that and put it into the very top of the class here. And the structure is going to be called client data. And it's going to be full name. No spaces in these, doesn't allow any spaces. And we make it 20 characters. I'm just putting the apostrophe 20. It doesn't do anything to code because it's after the apostrophe, of course. Weight as string. And we'll have that as 3 characters because that could be 175 kilograms or 62 kilograms or whatever else. Day is string. Let's go to my client's database. We need contact number and membership type. So we'll have contact number as string. And it's 11 characters. If you're going to allow the space, put in 12 characters. All right, so 0, 7, 8, 9, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And if you're going to allow the space, that's 12 characters. And the final one is going to be membership type. All right, so we'll put membership type in. All right, save that. One thing I forgot to add to the list box is I'm just going to put in the items. So in there, I'm going to have full and weekday, off, peak, team, and family, we'll say, something like that. Okay, click OK. So that will appear in the drop-down box then. So if we run that. So those appear there, and then we're going to click Save. So we've created the structure. Now we need to create the save command, the save module. So in the save module, just again, spacing does nothing to the running of the program, just spaces it out nicely for me to do. While you're going through, you may want to put annotation in. And membership type is string. Well, that's going to be, well, we'll make it 10, just in case they bring in some other membership types in the future. So the button to save, well, again, I'm going to just have a look at the coding that they've used. And that's in essence it. It's got to make a leisure time data as that structure, and then makes the stream writer to that file, and it writes the very variables there. So if I bring that across, now you can either change client store data. You can't leave it as client data because that's what that variable up there is. So I'm going to call that client store data as client data. It's going to write to the clients.txt. Make sure you got the right file name. So if it's called clients with an S on it, call it clients. And then this bit here is just creates, populates the data store. So what I'm going to do, that's going to be replaced with client store, client data, sorry. That's going to be replace leisure time data with client store data, and then the field name. Let's have a look, see how that line is made. Client store data dot, and there are all the variables. Full name equals lset. Now lset just makes the left of txt full name, and there it's going to how many characters. So I'm going to say 20 characters. It's just another way of validating. Make sure you use the text property, of course. So the next one is going to be client store data dot, this time weight equals lset. And lset is the new one for left. Left is the same command. So lset open txt weight dot text, and how many characters? Well, we've said it's going to be 3 characters, and I just finish off those. So client data dot, this time is membership type equals lset cmb type dot text comma, and we've said it's going to be 10 characters. Okay, and that basically does what was required in the other one. Put some annotation after it as well. This one stores data from text files into client. Oh, try and spell it right. Ready to be written to the file. And then this write line, stream writer, that's what we've called it, SW, it's just like a data file really, dot write line, and instead of leisure time dot data and so on, I'll just get rid of. All we're going to write is the client store data dot full name and client store data dot weight and client store data dot contact number, and the final one is membership type. And then it closes, like the country code, when you open a file, close the file. So it closed the file. What I'm also going to say there, unlike the examiner's one, is message box have been saved. You may also wish to txt full name dot text equals and blank them out. Entirely up to you whether you want to do that, and you do that contact number. All right, txt weight dot text and do that as well. All right, so I'll run that. Let's go and see if that saves. So at the moment, let's put in G Lewis weight 97, contact number 01234 567890, and membership type is weekday. Save. Client details have been saved, and it blanks those out. And I'm also hoping that in the text file, clients, and it's written the first record, the weight, the phone number, and then weekday as well. And that can be then used in the search in a moment.